Some of my dogs barking sometimes too. I'm trying to.
We're recording and up on YouTube, ready to go when everybody's ready.
Hold on.
This is. I guess if it could happen in any play, this is a good one for it to happen to. This plays all over the shop.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
so-
this is the technical difficulty. We lost our Zoom meeting there for a bit, but it's back again, and we have most of our players back.
Okay, so
So-
55 or 56? Did you say 56?
57. Gloucester says, "Witness my tears." Okay, shush. Gloucester says, "Witness my tears. I cannot stay to speak," and exits. Over to you, Eleanor.
What? Gone, my lord, and bid me no farewell.
Witness my tears. I cannot stay to speak.
Thou gone to all, comfort go with thee, for none abides with me. My joy is death, death at whose name I oft have been afeared, because I wished this world's eternity. Stanley, I pray thee go and take me hence. I care not whither, for I beg no favor. Only convey me where thou art commanded.
Why, madam, that is to the Isle of Man. They're to be used according to your state.
That's bad enough, for I am but reproach, and shall I then be used reproachfully?
Like to a duchess and Duke Humphrey's lady, according to that state, you shall be used.
Shall we farewell, and better than I fare, although thou hast been conduct of my shame.
Is my office, and madam, pardon me.
I farewell. Thy office is discharged. Come, Stanley. Shall we go?
Madam, your penance done, throw off the sheet, and go we to attire you for our journey.
My shame will not be shifted with my sheet, nor it will hang upon my richest robes, and shew itself attire me how I can. Go, lead the way. I long to see my prison.
And they exit. Act 3, Scene 1. The Senate sounds. The King, the Queen, Cardinal, Suffolk, York, Buckingham, Salisbury, and Warwick enter to the Parliament.
I muse my Lord of Gloucester is not come. 'Tis not his wont to be the hindmost man. Whate'er occasion keeps him from us now?
Can you not see, or will you not observe the strangeness of his altered countenance? With what a majesty he bears himself, how insolent of late he has become, how proud, how peremptory, and unlike himself. We know the time since he was mild and affable, and if we did but glance a far-off look, immediately he was upon his knee, that all the court admired him for submission. But meet him now, and be it in the morn, when everyone will give the time of day, he knits his brow, and shows an angry eye, and passeth by with stiff unbowed knee, disdaining duty that to us belongs. Small curs are not regarded when they grin, but great men tremble when the lion roars, and Humphrey is no little man in England. First note that he is near you in descent, and should you fall, he is the next will mount. Meseemeth then, it is no policy, respecting what a rancorous mind he bears, and his advantage following your decease, that he should come about your royal person, or be admitted to your highness council. By flattery hath he won the commons' hearts, and when he pleased to make a motion, 'tis to be feared they all will follow him. Now 'tis the spring, and weeds are shallow rooted. Suffer them now, and they'll o'ergrow the garden, and choke the herbs for want of husbandry. The reverent care I bear unto my lord made me collect these dangers in the duke. If it be fond, call it a woman's fear. which fear, if better reasons can supplant, I will subscribe and say I wronged the Duke. My Lord of Suffolk, Buckingham, and York, reprove my allegation if you can, or else conclude my words effectual.
We need Suffolk. Yes,
Suffolk,
hath your highness seen into this Duke? And had I first been put to speak my mind, I think I should have been told your grace's tale.
Oh my gosh.
The Duchess, by his subornation, upon my life began her devilish practices. Or if he were not privy to those faults, yet by reputing of his high descent, as next the king, he was successive heir, and such high vaunts of his nobility did instigate the bedlam brain-sick Duchess by wicked means to frame our sovereign's fall. Smooth runs the water where the brook is deep, and in his simple show he harbors treason. The fox barks not when he would steal the lamb. No, no, my sovereign, Gloucester is a man unsounded yet and full of deep deceit.
Okay, so Ken and Derek as Suffolk, and Ken as Cardinal. Where are ye, men? Ooh.
okay. Did he not, contrary to form of law, devise strange deaths for small offences done?
And did he not, in his protectorship, levy great sums of money through the realm for soldiers' pay in France, and never sent it? By means whereof the towns each day revolted.
Oh. Eleanor?
You're muted, Eleanor.
Buckingham?
These are petty faults to faults unknown, which time will bring to light in smooth Duke Humphrey.
My lord, at once, the care you have of us to mow down thorns that would annoy our foot is worthy praise. But shall I speak my conscience? Our kinsman Gloucester is as innocent from meaning treason to our royal person as is the sucking lamb or harmless dove. The Duke is virtuous, mild, and too well given to dream on evil or to work my downfall.
Ah, what's more dangerous than this fond affiance? Seems he a dove? His feathers are but borrowed, for he's disposed as is the hateful raven. Is he a lamb? His skin is surely lent him, for he's inclined as is the ravenous wolves. Who cannot steal a shape that means deceit? Take heed, my lord, the welfare of us all hangs on the cutting short that fraudful man.
Somerset enters. Who's Somerset?
Kitty Chen?
Kitty's not back. Eleanor, can you take Somerset?
All health unto my gracious sovereign,
Welcome, Lord Somerset. What news from France?
that all your interest in those territories is utterly bereft you. All is lost.
Cold news, Lord Somerset. But God's will be done.
Cold news for me, for I had hope of France, as firmly as I hope for fertile England. Thus are my blossoms blasted in the bud, and caterpillars eat my leaves away. But I will remedy this gear ere long, or sell my title for a glorious grave.
Gloucester enters. All happiness unto my lord the king. Pardon, my liege, that I have stayed so long.
Nay, Gloucester, know that thou art come too soon.
Nay, Gloucester, know that thou
Unless thou were more loyal than thou art. I do.
Ken Dash, please come back to the
treason
meeting.
here.
Period. It's up again, period. Thanks.
Virginia, didn't you give me Suffolk? Am I confused?
Yeah, as well.
From Somerset.
Yeah, Somerset.
Excuse me.
I don't know. I don't think I know Derek's phone number. I just texted Ken saying, please come back to the meeting.
He's
You
back.
Suffolk, Ken?
Ken's back.
Okay, so Derek and Kitty. I don't think I know their numbers. I'm emailing them now. Keep going
No.
to tell them to come back to the meeting.
Okay, Gloucester enters and says, all happiness unto my lord the king. Pardon, my lord, that I have stayed so long.
And
Nay,
who's
is that you, Ken?
going to do Suffolk, please?
Nay, Gloucester, know that thou art come too
Okay,
soon.
Mark, you do it until Derek.
Yes, unless thou wert more loyal than thou art, I
I'm here.
arrest thee of high treason here.
Well, Suffolk, thou shalt not see me blush, nor change my countenance for this arrest. A heart unspotted is not easily daunted. The purest spring is not so free from muddle as I am clear from treason to my sovereign. Who can accuse me? Wherein am I guilty?
'Tis thought, my lord, that you took bribes of France, and being protector, stayed the soldiers' pay, by means whereof his highness hath lost France.
Is it but thought so? What are they that think it? I never robbed the soldiers of their pay, nor ever had one penny bribe from France. So help me God, as I have watched the night, aye, night by night, in studying good for England. That doubt that ere I wrested from the king, or any groat I hoarded to my use, be brought against me at my trial day. No, many a pound of mine own proper store, because I would not tax the needy commons, have I dispersed to the garrisons, and never asked for restitution. Have we got a cardinal?
It serves you well, my lord, to say so much.
I say no more than truth, so help me God.
In your protectorship, you did devise strange tortures for offenders, never heard of that England was defamed by tyranny.
Why, 'tis well known that whiles I was protected, pity was all the fault that was in me. For I should melt at an offender's tears, and lowly words were ransom for their fault, unless it were a bloody murder or foul felonious thief that fleeced poor passengers. I never gave them condign punishment. Murder indeed, that bloody sin I tortured, above the felon, or what trespass else?
My lord, these faults are easy, quickly answered, but mightier crimes are laid unto your charge, whereof you cannot easily purge yourself. I do arrest you in his highness' name, and here commit you to my lord cardinal to keep until your further time of trial.
My lord of Gloucester, 'tis my special hope that you will clear yourself from all suspense. My conscience tells me you are innocent.
Ah, gracious Lord, these days are dangerous. Virtue is cloaked with foul ambition, and charity chased hence by rancorous hand. Foul subordination is predominant, and equity exiled your highness land. I know their complot is to have my life, and if my death might make this island happy and prove the period of their tyranny, I would expend it with all willingness. But mine is made the prologue to their play. For thousands more that yet suspect no peril will not conclude their plotted tragedy. Beaufort's red sparkling eyes blab his heart's malice, and Suffolk's cloudy brow his stormy hate. Sharp Buckingham unburdens with his tongue the envious load that lies upon his heart, and dogged York that reaches at the moon, whose overreaching arm I have plucked back by false accuse, both level at my life. And you, my sovereign lady, with the rest, careless have laid disgraces on my head, and with your best endeavour have stirred up my liefest liege to be mine enemy. Aye, all of you have laid your heads together. I myself had notice of your conventicles, and all to wake away my guiltless life. I shall not want false witness to condemn me, nor store of treasons to augment my guilt. The ancient proverb will be well effected. The staff is quickly found to beat a dog.
My liege, his raving is intolerable. If those that care to keep your royal person from treason's secret knife and traitor's rage be thus upbraided, chid, and rated at, then to the offender granted scope of speech, 'twill make them cool in zeal unto your grace.
Hath he not twit our sovereign lady here with ignominious words, though clerkly couched, as if he had suborned some to swear false all allegations to o'erthrow the state?
But I can give the loser leave to chide.
Far truer spoke than meant. I lose indeed. Beshrew the winners, for they played me false, and well such losers may have leave to speak.
Ill rest the sense, and all is here all day. Lord Cardinal, he's your prisoner.
Sirs, take away the Duke and guard him sure.
Ah, thus King Henry throws away his crutch, before his legs be firm to bear his body. Thus is the shepherd beaten from thy side, and wolves are gnarling. Who shall know thee first? Ah, that my fear were false. Ah, that it were. For good King Henry, thy decay I fear.
My lords, what to your wisdom seemeth best, do or undo, as if ourself were here?
What? Will your highness leave the parliament?
Aye, Margaret, my heart is drowned with grief, whose flood begins to flow within mine eyes. My body round and girt with misery, for what's more miserable than discontent? Ah, Uncle Humphrey, in thy face I see the map of honor, truth, and loyalty. And yet, good Humphrey, is the hour to come that ere I proved thee false or feared thy faith? What lowering star now envies thy estate, that these great lords and Margaret our queen do seek subversion of thy harmless life? Thou never didst them wrong, nor no man wrong. And as the butcher takes away the calf and binds the wretch and beats it when it strays, bearing it to the bloody slaughterhouse, even so remorseless have they borne him hence. And as the dam runs lowing up and down, looking the way her harmless young one went, and can do naught but wail her darling's loss, even so myself bewails good Gloucester's case, with sad, unhelpful tears and with dimmed eyes, look after him and cannot do him good. So mighty are his vowed enemies. His fortunes I will weep, and twixt each groan say, who's a traitor? Gloucester, he is none.
Free lords, cold snow melts with the sun's hot beams. Henry, my lord, is cold in great affairs, too full of foolish pity, and Gloucester's show beguiles him, as the mournful crocodile with sorrow snares relenting passengers, or as the snake, rolled in a flowering bank with shining checkered slough, doth sting a child, that for the beauty thinks it excellent. Believe me, lords, were none more wise than I, and yet herein I judge mine own wit good, this Gloucester should be quickly rid the world, to rid us from the fear we have of him.
That he should die is worthy policy, but yet we want a colour for his death. 'Tis meet he be condemned by course of law.
But in my mind, that were no policy. The king will labor still to save his life. The commons haply rise to save his life, and yet we have but trivial argument, more than mistrust, that shows him worthy death.
So that by this you would not have him die.
Ah, York, no man alive so fain as I.
'Tis York that hath more reason for his death. But my lord cardinal and you, my lord of Suffolk, say as you think, and speak it from your souls. Were it not all one, an empire, an empty eagle were set to guard the chicken from a hungry kite, as placed Duke Humphrey for the king's protector.
So the poor chicken should be sure of death.
Madam, 'tis true. And were it not madness then to make the fox surveyor of the fold, who being accused a crafty murderer, his guilt should be but idly posted over, because his purpose is not executed? No, let him die in that he is a fox, by nature proved an enemy to the flock, before his chaps be stained with crimson blood, as Humphrey proved by reasons to my liege, and do not stand on quillets how to slay him. Be it by gins, by snares, by subtlety, sleeping or waking, 'tis no matter how. So he be dead, for that is good deceit, which mates him first, that first intends deceit.
Thrice noble Suffolk, 'tis resolutely spoke.
Not resolute, except so much were done, for things are often spoke and seldom meant, but that my heart accordeth with my tongue, seeing the deed is meritorious, and to preserve my sovereign from his foe, say but the word, and I will be his priest.
But I would have him dead, my lord of Suffolk, ere you can take due orders for a priest. Say you consent and censure well the deed, and I'll provide his executioner. I so tender the safety of my liege.
Here is my hand, the deed is worthy doing.
And so say I.
And I. And now we three have spoke it. It skills not greatly who impugns our doom.
A messenger enters. Great lords, from Ireland am I come amain to signify that rebels there are up, and put the Englishmen unto the sword. Send succours, Lord, and stop the rage betime, before the wound doth grow incurable, for being green there is great hope of help.
A breach that craves a quick expedient stop. What counsel give you to this weighty cause? That Somerset should be sent as regent there. 'Tis met that lucky ruler be employed. Witness the fortune he hath had in France.
If York, with his far-fet policy, had been the regent there instead of me, he never would have stayed in France so long. Oh.
No, not to lose it all, as thou hast done. I rather would have lost my life betimes than being a burthen of dishonor home. By staying there so long till all were lost, show me one scar charactered on thy skin. Men's flesh preserved so whole do seldom win.
Nay then, this spark will prove a raging fire, if wind and fuel be brought to feed it with. No more, good York. Sweet Somerset, be still. Thy fortune, York, hadst thou been regent there, might happily have proved far worse than his.
What? Worse than naught? Nay, then, a shame take all.
And in the number that wishes shame.
My lord of York, try what your fortune is. The uncivil kerns of Ireland are in arms, and temper clay with blood of Englishmen. To Ireland will you lead a band of men, collected choicely from each county some, and try your hap against the Irishmen? I will, my lord, so please his majesty.
By our authority is his consent, and what we do establish he confirms. Then, noble York, take thou this task in hand.
I am content. Provide me soldiers, lords, while I take order for mine own affairs.
A charge, Lord York, that I will see performed. But now return we to the false Duke Humphrey.
No more of him, for I will deal with him, that henceforth he shall trouble us no more. And so break off, the day is almost spent. My Lord Suffolk, you and I must talk of that event. My Lord of Suffolk, within 14 days at Bristol, I expect my soldiers, for there I'll ship them all for Ireland.
I'll see it truly done, my Lord of York.
They all exit, leaving York alone.
Now, York, or never steal thy fearful thoughts, and change misdoubt to resolution. Be that thou hopest to be, or what thou art. Resigned to death, it is not worth the enjoying. Let pale-faced fear keep with the mean-born man, and find no harbor in a royal heart. Faster the springtime showers comes thought on thought, and not a thought but thinks on dignity. My brain, more busy than the laboring spider, weaves tedious snares to trap mine enemies. Well, nobles, well, 'tis politically done to send me packing with a host of men. I fear me you but warm the starved snake, who cherished in your breasts will sting your hearts. 'Twas men I lacked, and you will give them me. I take it kindly. Yet be well assured you put sharp weapons in a madman's hands. Whilst I in Ireland nourish a mighty band, I will stir up in England some black storm, shall blow 10,000 souls to heaven or hell. And this fell tempest shall not cease to rage until the golden circuit on my head, like to the glorious sun's transparent beams, do calm the fury of this mad-brained flaw. And for a minister of my intent, I have seduced a headstrong Kentishman, John Cade of Ashford, to make commotion, as full well he can, under the title of John Mortimer. In Ireland have I seen this stubborn Cade oppose himself against a troop of Kurds, and fought so long till that his thighs with darts were almost like a sharp-quilled porpentine. And in the end, being rescued, I have seen him caper upright like a wild Morisco, shaking the bloody darts as he his bells. Full often, like a shag-haired crafty kern, hath he conversed with the enemy, and undiscovered come to me again, and given me notice of their villainies. This devil here shall be my substitute for that John Mortimer, which now is dead. In face, gait, in speech, he doth resemble by this. I shall perceive the commons' mind, how they affect the house and claim of York. Say he be taken, racked, and tortured, I know no pain they can inflict upon him will make him say, I moved him to those arms. Say that he thrives, as 'tis great like he will. Why then, from Ireland come I with my strength, and reap the harvest which that rascal sowed. For Humphrey being dead, as he shall be, and Henry put apart, the next for me.
The Duke of York exits.
Okay.
Ken
No,
has
wait.
been back. Ken has been back.
Well, we'll take, okay, I don't even think we should take 5 minutes because we're running pretty long.
Yeah, so Ken has been back for a while as the
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Kenny, you there? Kenny?
He's there somewhere.
Yeah, there
Oh,
he is.
hi, Ken. Oh, good. I have no idea why that happened, y'all. I mean, it's too bad it happened in a very long play. But we're not even half done with the text, and we've gone over 2 hours already. So let's just take like 2 minutes.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
2 minutes, and we start with Act 3, Scene 2.
Right.
Listen, so Kitty's not back yet. She's
Okay.
Duke of Somerset. I'm not doing anything until page 121. So
I don't have her number. I emailed her and said, please come back in. So let me see. Well, let me look at the chart and see what all her parts are.
the Duke of Somerset has things towards the end of the play. So
Right, that's true. Okay, what she's got in the second half now is, yeah, Somerset is in 4 scenes. He's in Act 3, Scene 2, Act 4, Scene 8, and Act 5, Scene 1 and 2. And then she's doing Second Gentleman in Act 4, Scene 1, and Second Royal Messenger, Act 4, Scene 4, and First Citizen, Act 4, Scene 5. Can people just please jump in? I will if I can.
yeah, but instead, I'm just proposing instead of people doing 2 roles in this one scene,
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything until page 121. That's 4-7.
All right. Then you just please take all her
He
things.
doesn't
okay?
get back.
All right. Thank
Yeah,
you, Mark. So
Let
you,
me propose something. I don't have anything in Act 5. I can take Somerset in Act 5. Okay.
oh, thank you. Oh,
Okay,
that's
fine.
true,
Okay.
Derek. That's true. Thank you.
Okay.
You, okay. That's good. And Mark, you please take that. Therefore, you're going to take Somerset in Act 3, Scene 1. like I just said, second gentleman in Act 4, Scene 1, second royal messenger in these are little tiny one-line things. In
Yeah.
Act 4, Scene 4, and first citizen in Act
4,
4,
Scene
Scene
5.
4.
Right. All right.
That's all the rebel rousing scenes. They're very
Virginia,
quick. Those are real quick little scenes.
I have a
Yes.
question. I think the point is there's enough of us here that there shouldn't be a
Yeah.
need to have one person do two parts.
Yeah.
No, there's no problem. Okay, we've had our 2 minutes. Are we ready to go?
Yes, we are.
Okay, Act 3, Scene 2. Enter 2 or 3 running across the stage from the murder of Duke Humphrey. Run to my Lord of Suffolk. Let him know we have dispatched the Duke as he commended.
Oh, that it were to be done what we have done. Didst ever hear a man so penitent?
Suffolk enters. Here comes my lord.
Now, sirs, have you dispatched the thing?
Aye, my good lord, he's dead.
Why, that's well said. Go, get you to my house. I will reward you for this venturous deed. The king and all the peers are here at hand. Have you laid fair the bed? Is all things well according as I gave directions?
Oh, 'tis my good lord.
Away, be gone.
They exit. Trumpets sound. Enter the king, the queen, Cardinal, Suffolk, and Somerset with attendants.
Go, call our uncle to our presence straight. Say we intend to try his grace today, if he be guilty, as 'tis published.
I'll call him presently, my noble lord.
Lords, take your places, and I pray you all proceed no straighter against our uncle Gloucester than from true evidence of good esteem he be approved in practice culpable.
God forbid any malice shall prevail, that faultless may condemn a nobleman. Pray God he will acquit him of suspicion.
I thank thee, Nell. These words content me much.
Suffolk enters.
How now? Why look'st thou pale? Why tremblest thou? Where is our uncle? What's the matter, Suffolk?
Dead. In his bed, my lord Gloucester is dead.
We're getting no sound from Ken.
Okay.
God's sacred judgment, I did dream tonight the Duke was dumb and could not speak a word. The king swoons.
Oh, fools, my lord! Lords, the king is dead!
Rear up his body and bring him by the nose.
Run, go, help, help! Oh, Henry, open thine eyes!
He doth revive again. Madam, be patient.
Oh, heavenly God.
How fares my gracious lord?
Comfort my sovereign, gracious Henry, comfort.
What? Doth my lord of Suffolk comfort me? Came he right now to sing a raven's note, whose dismal tune bereft my vital powers? And thinks he that the chirping of a wren, by crying comfort from a hollow breast, can chase away the first conceived sound? Hide not thy poison with such sugared words. Lay not thy hands on me. Forbear, I say. Their touch affrights me as a serpent's sting. Now, baleful messenger, out of my sight. Upon thy eyeballs, murderous tyranny sits in grim majesty to fright the world. Look not upon me, for thine eyes are wounding. Yet do not go away. Come, basilisk, and kill the innocent gazer with thy sight. For in the shade of death I shall find joy. In life, but double death, now Gloucester's dead.
Why do you rate my lord of Suffolk thus? Although the Duke was enemy to him, yet he most Christian-like laments his death. And for myself, foe as he was to me, my liquid tears, or heart-offending groans, or blood-consuming sighs recall his life. I would be blind with weeping, sick with groans, look pale as primrose with blood-drinking sighs, and all to have the noble Duke alive. What know I how the world may deem of me? For it is known we were but hollow friends. It may be judged I made the Duke away. So shall my name with slander's tongue be wounded, and princes' courts be filled with my reproach. This get I by his death. I, me, unhappy, to be a queen and crowned with infamy.
Oh, woe is me for Gloucester, wretched man.
Oh, be woe for me, more wretched than he is. What? Dost thou turn away, and her hide thy face? I am no loathsome leper. Look on me. What? Art thou like the adder, waxen deaf? Be poisonous too, and kill thy forlorn queen. Is all thy comfort shut in Gloucester's tomb? Why then, Dame Margaret was ne'er thy joy. Erect his statue, and worship it, and make thy image, my image, but an alehouse sign. Was I for nigh wracked upon the sea, for this, and twice by awkward wind from England's bank drove back again until my native clime? What boded this? But well forewarning wind did seem to say, seek not a scorpion's nest, nor set no footing on this unkind shore. What did I then? But curse the gentle gusts, and he that loosed them forth their brazen caves, and bid them blow toward England's blessed shore, or turn our stern upon a dreadful rock. Yet Aeolus would not be a murderer, but left that hateful office unto thee. The pretty vaulting sea refused to drown me, knowing that thou wouldst have me drowned on shore, with tears as salt as sea. Through thy unkindness, the splitting rocks cowed on the sinking sands, and will not dash thee on with their ragged sides, because thy flinting heart, more hard than they, might in thy palace perish, Margaret. As far as I could ken, thy chalky cliffs, when from thy shore the tempest beat us back, I stood upon the hatches in the storm, and when the dusky sky began to rob my earnest gaping sight of thy land's view, I took a costly jewel from my neck, a heart it was, bounden with diamonds, and threw it toward thy land. The sea received it, and so I wished thy body might my heart. And even with this I lost fair England's view, and bid mine eyes be packing with my heart, and called them blind and dusky spectacles, for losing ken of Albion's wished coast. How often have I tempted Suffolk's tongue, the agent of thy foul inconstancy, to sit and watch me, as Ascanius did, when he to madding Dido would unfold his father's acts, commenced in burning Troy. Am I not witched like her? Or thou not false like him? Ay me, I can no more. Die, Margaret, for Henry weeps that thou dost live so long.
There is noise within. Warwick and many of the commons enter.
It is reported, mighty sovereign, that good Duke Humphrey treacherously is murdered by Suffolk and the Cardinal Beaufort's means. The commons, like an angry hive of bees that want their leader, scatter up and down, and care not who they sting in his revenge. Myself have calmed their spleenful mutiny until they hear the order of his death.
That he is dead, good Warwick, 'tis too true. But how he died, God knows, not Henry. Enter his chamber, view his breathless corpse, and comment then upon his sudden death.
That shall I do, my liege. Stay sober with the rude multitude till I return.
O thou that judgest all things, stay my thoughts that labor to persuade my soul some violent hands were laid on Humphrey's life. If my suspect be false, forgive me, God, for judgment only doth belong to thee. Fain would I go to chafe his paly lips with 20,000 kisses, and to drain upon his face an ocean of salt tears, to tell my love unto his dumb, deaf trunk, and with my fingers feel his hand unfeeling. But all in vain are these mean obsequies, and to survey his dead and earthly image, what were it but to make my sorrow greater?
Come hither, gracious sovereign, view his body.
That is to see how deep my grave is made, for with his soul fled all my worldly solace. For seeing him, I see my life in death.
As surely as my soul intends to live with that dread king that took our state upon him to free us from his father's wrathful curse, I do believe the violent hands were laid upon his life and his thrice-framed duke.
A dreadful oath, sworn with a solemn tongue. What instance gives Lord Warwick for his vow?
See how the blood is settled in his face? Oft have I seen a timely parted ghost of ashy resemblance, meager, pale, and bloodless, being all descended in his laboring heart, who in the conflict that it holds with death attracts the same of Addons against the enemy, which with the heart there cools, and never returneth, to blush the beautiful their cheek again. But see, his face is black and full of blood, his eye balled further out than when he lived, staring full ghastly like a strangled man. His hair are spreaded, his nostrils stretched with the struggling, his hands abroad displayed, and one had gasped the target for life, and was by strength subdued. Look on the sheets, his hair, you see, is sticking, his well-proportioned beard made rough and rugged, like to the summer's corn by tempest lodged. It cannot be but he was murdered here. The least of all these signs were probable.
Why, Warwick, who should do the Duke to death? Myself and Beaufort had him in protection, and we, I hope, sir, are no murderers.
But both of you are vowed by Duke Humphrey's vows, and you, forsooth, had the good Duke to keep. 'Tis like you would not feast him like a friend, and 'tis well seen he found an enemy.
Then you belike suspect these noblemen as guilty of Duke Humphrey's timeless death?
Who finds the heifer dead and bleeding fresh, and sees fast by a butcher with an axe, but will suspect it was that made the slaughter? Who finds the partridge on his buttock's nest, but may imagine now the bird was dead, although the kite soar on the unblooded beak? Even so suspicious in his tragedy.
Are you the butcher, Suffolk? Where's your knife? Is Beaufort turned a kite? Where are his talons?
I wear no knife to slaughter sleeping men, but here's a vengeful sword rusted with ease that shall be scoured in his rancorous heart that slanders me with murder's crimson badge. Say, if thou darest, proud lord of Warwickshire, that I am faulty in Duke Humphrey's death.
What dares not Warwick? If false Suffolk dare him?
He dares not calm his contumacious spirit, nor cease to be an arrogant controller, though Suffolk dare him 20,000 times.
Madam, be still. With reverence may I say, for every word you speak in his behalf is slander of your royal dignity.
Blunt-witted lord, ignoble in demeanor, if ever lady wronged her lord so much, thy mother took into her blameful bed some stern, untutored churl, and in noble stock was graft with crab-tree slip, whose root thou art, and never of the Neville's noble race.
But that the guilt of murder buckles thee, and I should rob the death's man of his fee, quitting here hereby of 10,000 shames, and that my sovereign presence makes me mild, and I would false murderous coward on thy knee, make thee beg pardon for thy passed speech, and say it was thy mother that thou meanst, that thou thyself was born in bastard. And after all the fearful homage done, give thee thy hair and send thy soul to hell. Pernous blood-sucker, sleeping man!
Thou shalt be waking when I shed thy blood, if from this presence thou darest go with me.
Away even now, and I will drag thee hence, unworthy thou art, and cope for thee, and do some service to Duke Henry's ghost.
Warwick exits.
What stronger breastplate than a heart untainted? Thrice is he armed that hath his quarrel just, but he naked, he but naked, though locked up in steel, whose conscience with injustice is corrupted.
There's a noise within.
What noise is this?
Suffolk and Warwick enter with their weapons drawn.
Why, how now, lords? Your wrathful weapons drawn here in our presence? Dare you be so bold? Why, what tumultuous clamor have we here?
The traitorous Warwick with the men of Berry set all upon me, mighty sovereign.
Salisbury enters.
Sirs, stand apart. The king shall know your mind. Dread lord, the commons send you word by me. Unless Lord Suffolk straight be done to death, or banished their England's territories, they will by violence tear him from your palace and torture him with grievous lingering death. They say by him the good Duke Humphrey died. They say in him they fear your highness's death, and mere instinct of love and loyalty, free from a stubborn opposite intent as being thought to contradict your liking, makes them thus forward in his banishment. They say in care of your most royal person, that if your highness should intend to sleep, and charge that no man should disturb your rest in pain of your dislike or pain of death, yet notwithstanding such a straight edict, there a serpent seen with forked tongue that slyly glided toward your majesty, it were but necessary you were waked, lest being suffered in that harmful slumber, the mortal worm might make the sleep eternal, and therefore do they cry, though you forbid, that they will guard you, where you will or no, from such fell serpents as false Suffolk is, with whom in venom and fatal sting your loving uncle 20 times his worth, they say is shamefully bereft of life.
An answer from the king, my lord of
An answer
Salisbury.
from the king! An answer from the king!
The commons, rude, unpolished hinds, could send such a message to their sovereign. But you, my lord, were glad to be employed to show how quaint an orator you are. But all the honor Salisbury hath won is that he was Lord Ambassador sent from a sort of tinkers to the king.
Answer from the king!
Go, Salisbury, and tell them all from me I thank them for their tender, loving care. And had I not been cited so by them, yet did I purpose as they do entreat. For sure, my thoughts do hourly prophesy mischance unto my state by Suffolk's means. And therefore, by his majesty I swear, whose far unworthy deputy I am, he shall not breathe infection in this air but 3 days longer on the pain of death.
Oh, Henry, let me plead for gentle Suffolk.
Ungentle queen, to call him gentle Suffolk. No more, I say. If thou dost plead for him, thou wilt but add increase unto my wrath. Had I but said, I would have kept my word. But when I swear, it is irrevocable. If after 3 days' space thou here beest found on any ground that I am ruler of, the world shall not be ransomed for thy life. Come, Warwick, come, good Warwick, go with me. I have great matters to impart to thee.
King exits.
Mischance and sorrow! go along with you. Heart's discontent and suffer affliction be playfellows to keep you company. There's two of you. The devil make a third, and threefold vengeance tend upon your steps.
Cease, gentle queen, these execrations, and let thy Suffolk take his heavy leave.
Fie, coward woman, and soft-hearted wretch, hast thou not spirit to curse thine enemy?
A plague upon them. Wherefore should I curse them? Would curses kill, as doth the mandrake's groan? I would invent as better searching terms, as cursed, as harsh, as horrible to hear, delivered strongly through my fixed teeth, with full as many signs as deadly hate, as lean-faced envy in her loathsome cave. My tongue should stumble in mine earnest words, mine eyes should sparkle like the beaten flint, mine hair be an end as one distract, I, every joint should seem to curse and ban. And even now my burdened heart would break should I not curse them. Poison be their drink, gall, worse than gall, the daintiest that they taste, their sweetest shade, a grove of cypress trees, their cheerest prospect, murdering basilisk, their softest touch as smart as lizard stings, their music frightful as serpents hiss, and boding screech owls make the consort full. All the foul terrors in dark seated hell.
Enough, sweet Suffolk. Thou torments thyself, and these dread curses, like the sun against glass, or like an overcharged gun, recoil and turn the force of them against thyself.
You bade me ban, and will you bid me leave? Now by the ground that I am banished from, well could I curse away a winter's night, though standing naked on a mountaintop, where biting cold would never let grass grow, and think it but a minute spent in sport.
Oh, let me entreat thee cease. Give me thy hand, that I may do it with my mournful tears. Nor let the rain of heaven wet this place, but to wash away my woeful monuments. Oh, could this kiss be printed in thy hand, that thou mightst think upon these by the seal, through whom 1,000 sighs are breathed for thee. So get thee gone, that I may know my grief. 'Tis but surmised whilst thou art standing by, as one that surfeits thinking on a want. I will repeal thee, or be well assured, adventure to be banished myself, and banished I am, if bit from thee. Go, speak not to me, even now be gone. Oh, go not, yes. Even thus, two friends condemned, embrace and kiss, and take 10,000 leaves, loather 100 times to part than die. So yet now farewell, and farewell life with thee.
Thus is poor Suffolk 10 times banished, once by the king, and 3 times thrice by thee. 'Tis not the land I care for, wert thou thence. A wilderness is populous enough. So Suffolk had thy heavenly company, for where thou art, there is the world itself, with every several pleasure in the world. And where thou art not, desolation. I cannot no more. Live thou to joy thy life. Myself no joy in naught, but that thou livest.
Enter Vaux.
Whither goes Vaux so fast? What news, I prithee?
To signify unto his majesty that Cardinal Beaufort is at point of death, for suddenly a grievous sickness took him that made him gasp and stare and catch the air, blaspheming God and cursing men on earth. Sometimes he talks as if Duke Humphrey's ghost were by his side. Sometimes he calls the king and whispers to his pillow as to him the secrets of his overcharged soul. And I am sent to tell his majesty that even now he cries aloud for him.
Go, tell this heavy message to the king. Ay me, what is this world? What news are these? But wherefore grieve I at an hour's poor loss, omitting Suffolk's exile, my soul's treasure? Why only Suffolk mourn I not for thee, and with the southern clouds contend I in tears. Theirs for the earth's increase, mine for my sorrows. Now get thee hence. The king, thou knowst, is coming. If thou be found by me, thou art but dead.
If I depart from thee, I cannot live. And in thy sight today, what were it else but like a pleasant slumber in thy lap? Here could I breathe my soul into the air, as mild and gentle as the cradled babe, dying with mother's dug between its lips. Where from thy sight I should be raging mad, and cry out for thee to close up mine eyes, to have thee with my lips, to stop my mouth. So shouldst thou either turn my flying soul, or I should breathe it so into thy body, and then it lived in sweet Elysium. To die by thee were but to die in jest. From thee to die were torture more than death. Oh, let me stay, befall what may befall.
Away, though parting be a fretful corrosive, it is applied to a deathful wound. To France, sweet Suffolk, let me hear from thee. For wheresoe'er thou art in this world's globe, I'll have an iris that shall find thee out.
I go.
And take my heart with thee.
A jewel locked in the woefulest cask that ever did contain a thing of worth. Even as a splitted bark, so sunder we. This way fall I to death.
This way for me.
And they exit. Act 3, Scene 3. Enter the King, Salisbury, and Warwick to visit the Cardinal in bed.
How fares my lord? Speak, Beaufort, to thy sovereign.
Cardinal.
You're muted, Ken.
He's not muted. For some reason, his sound isn't working. Can somebody pick it up?
Oh, that's a shame, Ken.
I'll go back to Beaufort.
You're really not muted, huh, Ken? We can't hear you at all. We could see you. Well,
If I'll miss death,
all right.
I'll
What are you
take England's treasure, enough to purchase such another island. So thou wilt let me live and feel no pain.
What a sign it is of evil life, where death's approach is seen so terrible.
Beaufort, it is thy sovereign speaks to thee.
And why don't you keep saying the words and someone's doing your voice for you? That's kind of cool. What the heck? All right. Bye-bye.
Bring me unto my trial when you will. Died he not in his bed? Where should he die? Can I make men live when they will or no? Oh, torture me no more. I will confess. Alive again. Then show me where he is. I'll give £1,000 to look upon him. He hath no eyes. The dust hath blinded them. Comb down his hair. Look, it stands upright like lime twigs that to catch my winged soul. Give me some drink. I bid the apothecary bring the strong poison that I bought of him.
O thou eternal mover of the heavens, look with a gentle eye upon this wretch. Oh, beat away the busy meddling fiend that lays strong siege unto his wretch's soul, and from his bosom purge this black despair.
See how the pangs of death do make him grin?
Disturb him not. Let him pass peacefully.
Peace to his soul, if God's good pleasure be. Lord Cardinal, if thou think'st on heaven's bliss, hold up thy hand, make signal of thy hope. He dies and makes no sign. Oh, God forgive him.
So bad a death argues a monstrous life.
Forbear to judge, for we are sinners all. Close up his eyes and draw the curtain close, and let us all to meditation.
And they exit. Act 4, Scene 1. There is an alarm, a fight at sea, cannons fire off. Enter a Lieutenant Suffolk and others.
The gaudy blabbing and remorseful days crept into the bosom of the sea, and now loud howling wolves arouse the jades that drag the tragic melancholy night, who with their drowsy, slow, and flagging wings cleave dead men's graves, and from their misty jaws breathe the foul, contagious darkness in the air. Therefore bring forth the soldiers of our prize, for while our pinnace anchors in the downs, here shall they make their ransom on the sand, or with their blood stain this discolored shore. Master, this prisoner freely give I thee, and thou that art his mate, make boot of this. The other Walter Whitmore is thy share.
What is my ransom, master? Let me know. 1,000 crowns, or else lay down your head.
And so much more shall you give, or off goes yours.
What think you much to pay 2,000 crowns, and bear the name and port of gentleman? Cut both the villains' throats, for die you shall. The lives of those which we have lost in fight be counterpoised with such a petty sum.
I'll give it, sir, and therefore spare my life.
And so will I, and ride home for it straight.
I lost my eye in laying the prize aboard, and therefore to revenge it shalt thou die. And so should these, if I might have my will.
Be not so rash. Take ransom. Let him live.
Look on me, George. I am a gentleman. Rate me at what thou wilt. Thou shalt be paid.
And so am I. My name is Walter Whitmore. How now? Why starts thou? What doth death affright?
My name affrights me, in whose sound is death. A cunning man did calculate my birth, and told me that by water I should die. Yet let not this make thee be bloody minded. Thy name is Gualtier, being rightly sounded.
Waltier or Walter, which it is I care not. Never yet did base dishonor blur our name, but with our sword we wiped away the blot. Therefore, when merchant-like I sell revenge, broke be my sword, my arms torn and defaced, and I proclaimed a coward through the world.
Stay, Whitmore, for thy prisoner is a prince, the Duke of Suffolk, William de la Pole.
The Duke of Suffolk, muffled up in rags.
Aye, but these rags are no part of the Duke.
But Jove was never slain, as thou shalt be, obscure and lousy swain. King Henry's blood.
The honorable blood of Lancaster must not be shed by such a jaded groom. Hast thou not kissed thy hand and held my stirrup, bareheaded, plodded by my footcloth mule, and thought thee happy when I shook my head? How often hast thou waited at my cup, fed from my trencher, kneeled down at thy board, when I have feasted with Queen Margaret? Remember it, and let it make thee crestfallen. Aye, and allay this thy abortive pride. How in thy voiding lobby hast thou stood, and duty waited for my coming forth? This hand of mine hath written thy behalf, and therefore shall it charm thy riotous tongue.
Speak, Captain, shall I stab the forlorn swain?
First let my words stab him as he hath me.
Base slave, thy words are blunt, and so art you.
Convey him hence, and on our longboat side strike off his head.
Thou darest not for thine own.
Pool, Sir Pool, Lord, I cannot puddle sink, whose filth and dirt troubles the silver spring where England drinks. Now will I dam up thy yawning mouth for swallowing the treasure of the realm. Thy lips that kissed the queen shall sweep the ground, and thou that smilest at good King Humphrey's death against the senseless winds shall grin in vain, who in contempt shall hiss at thee again, and wedded be thou to the hags of hell for daring to afire the mighty lord unto the daughter of a worthless king, having neither subject, wealth, nor diadem. By devilish policy art thou grown great, and like ambitious Scylla, overgorged with gobbets of thy mother-bleeding heart. By thee Anjou and Maine were sold to France. The false revolting Normans, they disdain to call us lord, and Picardy hath slain their governors, surprised our forts, and sent the ragged soldiers wounded home. The princely Warwick and the Nevilles, all whose dreadful swords were never drawn in vain, as hating thee and rising up in arms. And now the house of York, thrust from the crown by shameful murder of a guiltless king and lofty, proud, encroaching tyranny, burns with revenging fire, whose hopeful colors advance our half-faced sun, striving to shine under the which is writ, Invitus nubibus. The commons here in Kent are up in arms, and to conclude, reproach and beggary is crept into the palace of our king, and all by thee. Away! Convey him hence!
Oh, that I were a god to shoot forth thunder upon these paltry, servile, abject drudges. Small things make base men proud. This villain here, being captain of a pinnace, threatens more than Bargulus, the strong Illyrian pirate. Drones suck not eagle's blood, but rob beehives. It is impossible that I should die by such a lowly vassal as thyself. Thy words move rage, not remorse in me. I go of message from the queen to France. I charge thee, waft me safely across the channel.
Water. Welcome, Suffolk. I must waft thee to thy death.
Tine gelidus timor occupat artis. It is thee I fear.
Thou shalt have cause to fear before I leave thee. What, are you daunted now? Now will you stoop?
My gracious lord, entreat him, speak him fair.
Suffolk's imperial tongue is stern and rough, used to command, untaught to plead for favor. Far be it, we should honor such as these with humble suit. No, rather let my head stoop to the block than these knees bow to any, save to the God of heaven and to my king. And sooner dance upon a bloody pole than stand uncovered to the vulgar groom. True nobility is exempt from fear. More can I bear than you can dare execute.
Hail him away and let him talk no more. Come, soldiers, show what cruelty ye can.
That this my death may never be forgot. Great men oft die by biled bezants. A Roman sworder and Bandetto slave murdered sweet Tully. Brutus bastard hand stabbed Julius Caesar. Savage islanders, Pompey the Great, and Suffolk dies by pirates.
Walter and Suffolk exit.
And as for these whose ransom we have set, it is our pleasure one of them depart. Therefore come you with us, and let him go.
The lieutenant and the rest exit. Who are left is the first gentleman, and Walter enters with the body.
There let his head and liveless body lie, until the queen, his mistress, bury it.
Oh, barbarous and bloody spectacle! His body will I bear unto the king. If he revenge it not, yet will his friends, so will the queen that living held him dear. Act 4, Scene 2. Enter Beavis and John Holland.
Come, And get thee a sword, though made of a lath. They have been up these 2 days.
They have more need to sleep now, then.
I tell thee, Jack Cade, the clothier, means to dress the Commonwealth and turn it and set a new nap upon it.
So where do ye need, for 'tis threadbare? Well, I say it was never merry world in England since gentlemen came up.
Oh, miserable age, virtue is not regarded in handicraftsmen.
The nobility think scorn to go in leather aprons.
Nay, more, the king's council are no good workmen.
True, and yet it is said, labour in thy vocation, which is as much to say as let the magistrates be labouring men, and therefore should we be magistrates.
Thou hast hit it, for there's no better sign of a brave mind than a hard hand.
Oh, I see them. There's best son, the tanner of Wingham.
He shall have the skin of our enemies to make dog's leather of.
And Dick the butcher.
There is sin struck down like an ox, and iniquity's throat cut like a calf.
And Smith the weaver.
Argo, their thread of life is spun.
Come, let's fall in with them.
There's a drum sounds. Enter Cade, Dick Butcher, Smith the Weaver, and a Sawyer with infinite numbers.
We, John Cade, so termed of our supposed father.
Rather a stealing a cade of herrings.
For our enemies shall fall before us.
You're frozen, Brian.
Yeah. What's going on? Mm. Oh my goodness.
I hate it then when this happens.
Yeah, well, it's a miracle to me that the Zoom ever happens. I mean, we got someone.
All right, enough. Stop prattling. Go back, or stealing a cade of herrings. Are you coming back, Brian? Okay, somebody can take Jack Cade for the moment.
I
will.
They'll fail before us.
Mark will do it. Okay, go back to the top of 106. The butcher says, "Oh, rather a stealing a cade of herrings.
For our enemy shall fail before us, inspired with the spirit of putting down kings and princes. Command silence."
Silence?
My father was a Mortimer.
He was an honest man and a good bricklayer.
My mother, a Plantagenet.
Oh, I knew her well. She was a midwife.
My wife descended of the Laces.
She was indeed a peddler's daughter and sold many laces. But now of late, not able to travel with her, third pack she washes bucks here at home.
Therefore, I am of an honourable house.
By my faith, the field is honourable, and there was he born under a hedge, for his father had never a house but the cage.
Valiant am I.
And must needs, for beggary is valiant.
I am able to endure much.
No question of that, for I have seen him whipped 3 market days together.
Back, Brian?
Pause. Is Brian back?
I'm back, yes. Where are we
Good.
now?
We're at the bottom of 107. I will give my line, no question for that. You got that, Brian?
107?
Bottom of 107.
6.
106. 106, sorry, yes.
Okay. And
no question of that, for I have seen him whip 3 market days together.
I fear neither sword nor fire.
He need not fear the sword, for his coat is a proof.
But methinks you should stand in fear of fire, being burnt to the hand for stealing of sheep.
Be brave then, for your captain is brave, and vows reformation. There shall be in England 7 halfpenny sold for a penny. The 3-hoop pot shall have 10 hoops, and I will make it felony to drink small beer. All the realm shall be in common, and in Cheapside shall my palfrey go to grass. And when I am king, as king I will be.
God save your
God save
majesty.
your majesty.
Yeah.
I thank you, good people. There shall be no money. All shall eat and drink on my score, and I will apparel them all in one livery, that they may agree like brothers and worship me their Lord.
First thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers.
Aye, aye.
Nay, that I mean to do. Is not this a lamentable thing, that of the skin of an innocent lamb should be made parchment? That parchment be scribbled o'er. Should a man? Some say the bee stings, but I say 'tis the bee's wax. For I did not seal once to a thing, and I was never mine own man since. How now? Who's there?
The clerk of Chartman. He can write and read and cast account.
Oh, monstrous.
We took him setting of voice copies.
Here's a villain.
Ha! A book's in his pocket with red letters, isn't it?
Nay, then he is a conjurer.
Nay, he can make obligations and write court hand.
I am sorry for it. The man is a proper man of mine honor. Unless I find him guilty, he shall not die. Come hither, sirrah. I must examine thee. What is thy name?
Emmanuel.
They used to write it on top of the letters. 'Twill go hard with thee.
Let me alone. Dost thou use to write thy name? Or hast thou a mark to thyself, like a honest, plain dearling man?
Sir, I thank God I have been so well brought up that I can write my name.
Best. Away with him. He's a villain and a traitor.
Yes, confessed.
Away with him, I say. Hang him with his pen and inkhorn about his neck.
Clark exits. Michael enters.
Where's our general?
Here I am, thou particular fellow.
Fly, fly, fly! Sir Humphrey Stafford and his brother are hard by with the king's forces.
Stand, villain, stand, or I'll fell thee down. He shall be encountered with a man as good as himself. He is but a knight, is it?
Now,
to equal him, I will make myself a knight. Presently. Rise up, Sir John Mortimer. Now, have at him.
Sir Humphrey Stafford enters, and his brother with drums and soldiers. Humphrey Stafford.
What page are we on now?
One at the very bottom of 1109.
109, okay.
Last line.
Okay, I don't think that's me.
Rebellious hinds, the filth and scum of Kent marked you for the gallows. Lay your weapons down, home to your cottages. Forsake this groom. The king is merciful if you revolt.
But angry, wrathful, and inclined to blood. If you go forward, therefore yield or die.
As for these silken-coated slaves, I pass not. It is to you, good people, that I speak, over whom in time to come I hope to reign. For I am rightful heir unto the crown.
Ah, villain! Thy father was a plasterer, and thou thyself a shearman, art thou not?
And Adam was a gardener.
And what of that?
Mary, this Edmund Mortimer, Earl of March, married the Duke of Clarence's daughter, did he not?
Aye, sir.
By her, he had 2 children at one birth.
That's false.
There's the question. But I say 'tis true. The elder of them being put to nurse was by a beggar woman stolen away, and ignorant of his birth and parentage, became a bricklayer when he came to age. His son am I. Deny it if you can.
Nay, 'tis too true, therefore he shall be king.
Sir, he made a chimney in my father's house, and the bricks are alive all to this day to testify it. Therefore, deny it not.
And will you credit this base drudge's words that speaks he knows not what?
Aye, marry we will.
Well,
Therefore
Get
be
you
gone.
Get you gone.
Oh, Jack Kay, the Duke of York, has taught you this.
He lies, for I invented it myself. Go to, sir. Tell the king from me that for his father's sake, Henry V, in whose time boys went to span counter for French crowns, I am content he shall reign, but I'll be protector over him.
And furthermore, we'll have the Lord Say's head for selling the dukedom of Maine.
And good reason, for thereby is England, Maine, and fain to go with a staff. But that my Christians holds it up. Fellow kings, I tell you that that Lord Say, have gilded the Commonwealth and made it an eunuch. And more than that, he can speak French, and therefore he's a traitor.
Oh, gross and miserable ignorance.
Nay, answer if you can. The Frenchmen are our enemies. Go to them. I ask but this, can he that speaks with the tongue of an enemy be a good counselor or no?
No.
Have his head.
Well, seeing gentle words would not prevail, assail them with the army of the king.
Herald away, and throughout every town proclaim them traitors that are up with Cade, that those which fly before the battle ends may even in their wives and children's sight be hanged up, for example, at their doors. And you that be the king's friends, follow me.
Staffordshire exits.
And you that love the commons, follow me. Now show yourselves, men. 'Tis for liberty. We will not leave one lord, one gentleman. No, spare none. But such as go in clouded shooting, for they are thrifty, honest, and such as would, but that they dare not, take our parts.
But they are all in order and march toward us.
But then are we in order, when we are most out of order. Come, march forward.
Act 4, Scene 3. There are alarms to the fight, wherein both the Staffords are slain. Cade enters with the rest.
Where's Dick, the butcher of Ashford?
Here, sir.
They fell before thee like sheep and oxen, and thou behavest thyself as if thou hadst been in thine own slaughterhouse. Therefore, thus will I reward thee. The Lent shall be as long again as it is, and thou shalt have a license to kill for 100 lacking one.
I desire no more.
And to speak truth, thou deservest no less. This monument of the victory will I bear, and the bodies shall be dragged at my horse's heels till I do come to London, where we will have the mayor's sword borne before us.
If we mean to thrive and do good, break open the jails and let out the prisoners.
Fear not that I want thee. Come, let's march towards London.
And they exit. Act 4, Scene 4. Enter the king with a supplication, and the queen with Suffolk's head, the Duke of Buckingham, and the Lord Say.
Oft have I heard that grief softens the mind and makes it fearful and degenerate. Think therefore on revenge and cease to weep. But who can cease to weep and look on this? Here may his head lie on my throbbing breast, but where's the body that I should embrace?
What answer makes your grace
Oh,
to the
shit.
rebel's supplication?
I'll send some holy bishop to entreat, for God forbid so many simple souls should perish by the sword. And I myself, rather than bloody war, shall cut them short. Will parley with Jack Cade, their general. But stay, I'll read it over once again.
Ah, barbarous villains, hath this lovely face ruled like a wandering planet over me, and could it not enforce them to relent, that were unworthy to behold the same?
Lord say, Jack Cade hath sworn to have thy head.
Aye, but I hope your highness shall have his.
How now, madam? Still lamenting and mourning for Suffolk's death? I fear me, love, if that I had been dead, thou wouldst not have mourned so much for me.
No, my love, I should not mourn, but die for thee.
A messenger
now?
enters.
What news? Why comest thou in such haste?
The rebels are on the Southwark. Fly, my lord. Jack Cade proclaims himself Lord Mortimer. Lord Mortimer descended from the Duke of Clarence house and calls your grace to supper plenty and vows to crown himself in Westminster. His army is a ragged multitude of hinds and peasants, rude and merciless. Sir Humphrey Stamford, in his brother's death, has given them heart and courage to proceed. All scholars, lawyers, courtiers, gentlemen, they call forth caterpillars and intend their death.
Oh, graceless men, they know not what they do.
My gracious lord, retire to Killingsworth until a power be raised to put them down.
Ah, were the Duke of Suffolk now alive, these Kentish rebels would be soon appeased.
Lord say, the traitors hateth thee, therefore away with us to Killingworth.
So might your grace's person be in danger. The sight of me is odious in their eyes, and therefore in this city will I stay, and live alone as secret as I may.
Another messenger enters. Jack Cade hath gotten London Bridge. The citizens fly and forsake their houses. The rascal people, thirsting after prey, join with the traitor, and they jointly swear to spoil the city and your royal court.
Then linger not away, my lord. Away! Take horse.
Come, Margaret. God, our hope, will succor us.
My hope is gone now Suffolk is deceased.
Farewell, my lord. Trust not the Kentish rebels.
Trust nobody for fear you betrayed.
The trust I have is in mine innocence, and therefore am I bold and resolute.
And they exit. Act 4, Scene 5. Enter Lord Scales upon the tower, walking, and there enter 2 or 3 citizens below. How now? Is Jack Cade slain?
No, my lord, nor likely to be slain, for they've won the bridge, killing all those that withstand them. The Lord Mayor craves aid of your honor from the tower to defend the city from the rebels.
Such as I can spare you shall command, but I am troubled here with them myself. The rebels have essayed to win the tower, but get you to Smithfield and gather head, and thither will I send you Matthew Goff. Fight for your king, your country, and your lives, and so farewell, for I must hence again. And they exit. Act 4, Scene 6. Enter Jack Cade and the rest, and he strikes his staff on London's stone.
Now is Mortimer, lord of this city, and here sitting upon London stone, I charge and command that of the city's cost, the pissing conduit run nothing but claret wine this first year of our reign. And now henceforth, it shall be treason for any that calls me other than Lord Mortimer.
A soldier enters running. Jack Cade! Jack Cade!
Knock him down there!
And they kill him. If this fella be wise, he'll never call thee Jack Cade more. I think he has a very fair warning. My lord, there's an army gathered together at Smithfield.
Come, then let's go fight with them. But first, go and set London Bridge on fire. And if you can, burn down the tower too. Come, let's away.
And they all exit. Act 4, Scene 7. Alarms sound. Matthew Gough is slain, and all the rest. Then enter Jack Cade with his company.
So, sirs, now go some and pull down the Savoy. Others to the ends of the court. Down with them all.
I have a suit unto your lordship.
Be it a lordship, thou shalt have it for that word.
Only that the lords of England may come out of your mouth.
Mass, 'twill be sore law then, for he was thrust in the mouth with a spear, and 'tis not whole yet.
Nay, John, it'll be stinking law, for his
She's
breath
muted.
stinks.
She's muted. Give her a chance. Give her a chance, Angus, okay?
Oh, sorry.
Unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah. Nay, John, it will be stinking law, for his breath stinks with heated toasted cheese.
I have thought upon it. It shall be so. Away! Burn all the records of the realm. My mouth shall be the Parliament of England.
And we are like to have biting statutes unless his teeth be pulled out.
And henceforward, all things shall be in common.
A messenger enters.
My lord, a prize, a prize. Here's the Lord say, which sold the towns in France. He that may us pay 1 and 20 15s and 1 shilling to the pound, the last subsidy.
Enter George with the Lord say.
Well, he shall be beheaded for it 10 times. Ah, thou say, thou surge, nay, thou buckram lord. Now art thou within point blank of our jurisdiction regal. What canst thou answer to thy majesty for giving up of Normandy unto Monsieur Basseneau, the Dauphin? Be it known unto thee by these presents, even the presence of Lord Mortimer, that I am the besom that must sweep the court clean of such filth as thou art. Thou hast most traitorously corrupted the youth of the realm in erecting a grammar school, and where, as before, our forefathers had no other books but the score and the tally, thou hast caused printing to be used, and contrary to the king, his crown and dignity. Thou hast built a paper mill. It will be proved to thy face that thou hast men about thee that usually talk of a noun and a verb and such abominable words as no Christian ear can endure to hear. Thou hast appointed justices of peace to call poor men before them about matters they were not able to answer. Moreover, thou hast put them in prison, and because they could not read, thou hast hanged them, when indeed only for that because they have been most worthy to live. Thou dost ride in a footcloth, dost thou not?
What of that?
Aye, thou oughtst not to let thy horse wear a cloak, when honester men then go about in their hose and doublets.
And work in their shirt too, as myself, for example, that I'm a butcher.
You men of Kent.
What say you of Kent?
Nothing but this. 'Tis bona terra mala gens.
Away with him! Away with him! He speaks Latin.
Hear me but speak, and bear me where you will. Kent, in the commentaries Caesar writ, is termed the civilest place of all this isle. Sweet is the country because full of riches, the people liberal, valiant, active, wealthy, which makes me hope you are not void of pity. I sold not Maine, I lost not Normandy, yet to recover them would lose my life. Justice with favor have I always done. Prayers and tears have moved me, gifts could never. When have I aught exacted at your hands? Kent, to maintain the king, the realm, and you, large gifts have I bestowed on learned clerks, because my book preferred me to the king. And seeing ignorance is the curse of God, knowledge the wing wherewith we fly to heaven. Unless you be possessed with devilish spirits, you cannot but forbear to murder me. This tongue hath parleyed unto foreign kings for your behalf.
Tut! When struck'st thou one blow in the field?
Great men have reaching hands. Oft have I struck those that I never saw and struck them dead.
Oh, monstrous coward, what, to come behind folks?
These cheeks are pale for watching your good.
Give him a box of the ear, and that will make him red again.
Long sitting to determine poor men's causes hath made me full of sickness and diseases.
Ye shall have a hempen candle then, and the help of hatchet.
Why dost thou, clever man?
The palsy and not fear provokes me.
Nay, he nods at us, as who should say, I'll be even with you. I'll see if his head will stand steadier on a pole or no. Take him away and behead him.
Tell me, wherein have I offended most? Have I affected wealth or honor? Speak. Are my chests filled up with extorted gold? Is my apparel sumptuous to behold? Whom have I injured that you seek my death? These hands are free from guiltless bloodshedding, this breast from harboring foul, deceitful thoughts. Oh, let me live.
I feel remorse in myself with his words, but I'll bridle it. He shall die, and it be but for pleading so well for his life. Away with him! He's had a familiar under his tongue. He speaks not a God's name. Go, take him away, I say, and strike off his head presently, and then break into his son-in-law's house, Sir James Cromer, and strike off his head, and bring them both upon 2 poles hither.
Shall be done.
Shall be done.
Shall be done. It
Shall be done.
Oh, countrymen, if when you make your prayers, God should be so obdurate as yourselves, how would it fare with your departed souls? And therefore, yet relent and save my life.
Away with him, and do as I command ye. The proudest peer in the realm shall not wear a head on his shoulders unless he pay me tribute. There shall not be a maid but be married, but she shall pay to me her maidenhead ere they have it. Men shall hold of me in captivity, and when we charge and command, that their wives be as free as heart can wish or tongue can tell.
My lord, when shall we go to Cheapside and take up commodities on our bills?
Marry, presently!
Oh,
brave!
brave! Someone enters carrying the 2 heads.
But is not this braver? Let them kiss one another, for they loved well when they were alive. Now part them again, lest they consult about the giving up of some more towers in France. Soldiers, defer the spoil of the city until night, for with these borne before us, instead of maces, will we ride through the streets, and at every corner have them kiss. Away!
And he exits. Act 4, Scene 8. Alarms sound and retreat. Again enters Cade and all his rabble.
Up Fish Street, down St. Magnus's Corner, kill and knock down, throw them into Thames.
A parley sounds.
What noise is this I hear? Dare any be so bold to sound retreat or parley when I command them kill?
Buckingham enters with old Clifford.
I hear
Okay,
they
Clifford
believe
is,
the air
Ken,
and
so
will
somebody-
disturb the No, Cade, we come ambassadors from the king unto the commons, whom thou hast misled, and here pronounce free pardon to them all that will forsake thee, and go
Who
home
wants-
in peace.
Who wants to take old Clifford?
I'll do it.
Thanks.
Okay. What say ye, countrymen? Will ye relent and yield to mercy whilst 'tis offered you? Or let a rabble lead you to your deaths? Who loves the king and will embrace his pardon, fling up his cap and say, God save his majesty? Who hateth him and honors not his father? Henry the Fifth, that made all France to quake, shake he his weapon at us and pass by.
God save the
God
king!
save the king!
God save the king!
save the
God
king!
save the king!
What, Buckingham and Clifford, are ye so brave? And you, base peasant, do ye believe him? Will you needs be hanged with your pardons about your necks? Hath my sword therefore broke through London gates, that you should leave me at the White Hart in Southwark? I thought ye would never have given out these arms till you had recovered your ancient freedom. But you are all recreants and dastards, and delight to live in slavery to the nobility. Let them break your backs with burdens, take your houses over your heads, ravish your wives and daughters before your faces. For me, I will make shift for one, and so God's curse light upon you all.
We'll
follow
follow
Cade! We'll follow Cade!
Is Cade the son of Henry the Fifth, that thus you do exclaim you'll go with him? Will he conduct you through the heart of France and make the meanest of you earls and dukes? Alas, he hath no home, no place to fly to, nor knows he how to live but by the spoil, unless by robbing of your friends and us. Were't not ashamed that whilst you live at jar, the fearful French whom you late vanquished should make a start o'er seas and vanquish you? Methink already in this civil broil, I see them lording it in the London streets, crying Viliago unto all they meet. Better 10,000 base-born Cades miscarry than you should stoop unto a Frenchman's mercy. To France, and get what you have lost. Spare England, for it is your native coast. Henry hath money, you are strong and manly. God on our side, doubt not of victory.
Clifford! Clifford!
Follow
the king and Clifford!
Was ever feather so lightly blown to and fro as this multitude? The name of Henry V hails them to 100 mischiefs. It makes them leave me desolate. I see them lay their heads together to surprise me. My sword make way for me, for here is no staying. In despite of the devils and hell, have through the very midst of you, and heavens and honor be witness that no want of resolution in me, but only my followers, base and ignominious treasons, makes me betake me to my heels.
And he exits.
What? Is he fled? Go some and follow him, and he that brings his head unto the king shall have 1,000 crowns for his reward.
And some exit.
Follow me, soldiers. we'll devise a mean to reconcile you all unto the king.
And they all exit. Act 4, Scene 9. Trumpet sound. The king and queen enter with Somerset on the terrace.
Was ever king that joyed an earthly throne and could command no more content than I? No sooner was I crept out of my cradle, but I was made a king at 9 months old. Was never subject long to be a king, as I do long and wish to be a subject.
Buckingham and Clifford enter.
Health and glad tidings to your majesty.
Why, Buckingham, is the traitor Cade surprised, or is he but retired to make him strong?
Multitudes enter with halters about their necks. He is fled, my lord, and all his powers do yield, and humbly thus with halters on their necks expect your highness doom of life or death.
Then heaven set ope thy everlasting gate to entertain my vows of thanks and praise. Soldiers, this day have you redeemed your lives and showed how well you love your prince and country. Continue still in this so good a mind, and Henry, though he be infortunate, assure yourselves will never be unkind. And so with thanks and pardon to you all, I do dismiss you to your several countries.
God save
God
the king!
save the king!
God save the
God save the
king!
king!
A messenger enters. Please your grace to be the advertised, the Duke of York is newly come from Ireland, and with a puissant and a mighty power of gallows glasses and stout kerns is marching hitherward in proud array, and still proclaimeth as he comes along, his arms are only to remove from thee the Duke of Somerset, whom he terms a traitor.
Thus stands my state twixt Cade and York distressed, like to a ship that, having scaped a tempest, is straightway calm and boarded with the pirate. But now is Cade driven back, his men dispersed, and now is York in arms to second him. I pray thee, Buckingham, go and meet him and ask him what's the reason of these arms. Tell him I'll send Duke Edmund to the Tower, and Somerset we will commit thee thither until his army be dismissed from him.
My lord, I'll yield myself to prison willingly, or unto death, to do my country good.
In any case, be not too rough in terms, for he is fierce and cannot brook hard language.
I will, my lord, and doubt not so to deal as all things shall redound into you, your good.
Come, wife, let's in and learn to govern better, for yet may England curse my wretched reign.
And they exit with a flourish of trumpets. Act 4, Scene 10. Cade enters.
Fie on ambitions, fie on myself, that have a sword and yet am ready to famish. These 5 days have I hid me in these woods, and durst not peep out, for all the country is laid for me. But now am I so hungry that if I might have a lease of my life for 1,000 years, I can stay no longer. Wherefore on a brick wall have I climbed into this garden to see if I can eat grass or pick a salad of a while, which is not amiss to cool a man's stomach this hot weather. And I think this word salad was born to do me good. For many a time, but for a salad, my brain pan had been cleft with a brown bill. And many a time when I have been dry and bravely marching, it have served me instead of a quart pot to drink. And now the word salad must serve to feed all.
Lord, who would live turmoiled in the court and may enjoy such quiet walks as these? This small inheritance my father
Wasn't
left me.
this Clinton? It's okay, but wasn't this Clinton doing Iden?
No,
Alexander Iden?
no.
Oh, no, I'm wrong. I'm so sorry. Keep going. I'm so sorry.
Lord, who would live at turmoil in the court and may enjoy such quiet walks as these, this small inheritance my father left me. Contenteth me and worthy a monarch, I seek not to wax great by others' warning, or gather wealth, I care not with what envy. Sufficeth that I have maintained my state, and sends the poor well pleased from my gate.
Here's the lord of the soil come to seize me for a stray, for entering his fee simple without leave. Villain, thou wilt betray me and get 1,000 crowns of the king by carrying my head to him. But I'll make thee eat iron like an ostrich and swallow my sword like a great pin ere thee and I part.
Why, rude companion, whatsoever thou be, I know thee not. Why then should I betray thee? It's not enough to break into my garden and like a thief to come and rob my grounds, climbing my walls in spite of me, the owner. But thou wilt brave me with these saucy terms?
Brave thee? Aye, by the best blood that ever was broached, and beard thee too. Look on me well. I have eaten no meat these 5 days. Yet come thou and thy 5 men, and if I do not leave you all as dead a doornail, I pray God I may never eat grass no more.
Nay, it shall ne'er be said while England stands that Alexander Iden, an esquire of Kent, took odds to combat a poor famished man. Oppose thy steadfast gazing eyes to mine. See if thou canst outface me with thy looks, set limb to limb, and thou art far the lesser. Thy hand is but a finger to my fist, thy leg a stick compared with this truncheon. My foot shall fight with all the strength thou hast, and if mine arm be heaved in the air, thy grave is digged already in the earth. As for words, whose greatness answers words, let this my sword report what speech forbears.
By my valor, the most complete champion that ever I heard. Still, if thou turns the edge, or cut not out the burly bone clown in chines of beef, ere thou sleep in thy sheath, I beseech Jove on my knees, thou mayst be turned to hobnails.
And they fight.
Oh, I am slain. Famine and no other have slain me. Let 10,000 devils come against me and give me but the fields I have lost, and I defy them all. Live a garden and be henceforth a burying place to all that do dwell in this house, because the unconquered soul of Cade is fled.
Is Cade that I have slain? That monstrous traitor? Sword, I will hallow thee for this thy deed, and hang thee o'er my tomb when I am dead. Ne'er shall this blood be wiped from thy point, but thou shalt wear it as a herald's coat to emblaze the honour that thy master got.
Iden, farewell, and be proud of thy victory. Tell Kent from me, she hath lost her best man, and exhort all the world to be cowards. For I that never feared any am vanquished by famine, not by valor.
And Cade dies. How much thou wrongest me, heaven be my judge. Die, damned wretch! The curse of her that bare thee, and thus I thrust thy body in with my sword, so wish I might thrust thy soul to hell. Hence I will drag thee headlong by the heels unto a dunghill, which shall be thy grave, and there cut off thy most ungracious head, which I will bear in triumph to the king, leaving thy trunk for crows to feed upon. And he died, and he exits. Act 5, Scene 1. Enter York and his army of Irish with drums and colours.
From Ireland thus comes York to claim his right and pluck the crown from feeble Henry's head. Ring bells aloud, burn bonfires clear and bright to entertain great England's lawful king. Ah, Sancta Majestas, who would not buy thee dear? Let them obey that knows not how to rule. This hand was made to handle naught but gold. I cannot give due action to my words, except a sword or scepter balance it. A scepter shall it have I a soul, on which I'll toss the fleur de luce of France.
Buckingham enters.
Whom have we here? Buckingham to disturb me? The king hath sent him sure. I must dissemble.
York, if thou meanst well, I greet thee well.
Humphrey of Buckingham, I accept thy greeting. Art thou a messenger, or come of pleasure?
A messenger from Henry, our dread liege, to know the reason of these arms in peace, or why, thou being a subject, as I am, against thy oath and true allegiance sworn, should raise so great a power without his leave, or dare to bring thy force so near the court.
Scarce can I speak, my choler is so great. Oh, I could hew up rocks and fight with flint. I am so angry at these abject terms. And now, like Ajax Telamonius, on sheep or oxen could I spend my fury. I am far better born than is the king, more like a king, more kingly in my thoughts. But I must make fair weather yet a while. Till Henry be more weak and I more strong. Buckingham, I prithee, pardon me, that I have given no answer all this while. My mind was troubled with deep melancholy. The cause why I have brought this army hither is to remove proud Somerset from the king, seditious to his grace and to the state.
That is too much presumption on thy part. But if thy arms be to no other end, the king hath yielded unto thy demand. The Duke of Somerset is in the Tower.
Upon thine honor, is he prisoner?
Upon mine honor, he is prisoner.
Oh, then, Buckingham, I do dismiss my powers. Soldiers, I thank you all. Disperse yourselves. Meet me tomorrow in St. George's Field. You shall have pay and everything you wish. And let my sovereign, virtuous Henry, command my eldest son, nay, all my sons, as pledges of my fealty and love. I'll send them all as willing as I live. Lands, good, horse, armor, anything I have is his to use, so Somerset may die.
York, I commend this kind submission. We twain will go into his highness's tent.
The king enters with his attendants.
Buckingham, doth York intend no harm to us, that thus he marches with thee arm in arm?
In all submission and humility, York doth present himself unto your highness.
Then what intends these forces thou dost bring?
To heave the traitor Somerset from hence, and fight against that monstrous rebel Cade, who, since I heard, to be discomfited.
Iden enters with Cade's head. If one so rude and of so mean condition may pass into the presence of a king, lo, I present your grace a traitor's head, the head of Cade, whom I in combat slew.
The head of Cade? Ah, great God, how just art thou! Oh, let me view his visage being dead, that living want me such exceeding trouble. Tell me, my friend, art thou the man that slew him?
I was, and like your majesty.
How art thou called, and what is thy degree?
Alexander Iden, that's my name. A poor esquire of Kent that loves his king.
It so please it you, my lord. 'Twere not amiss he were created knight for his good service.
Iden, kneel down. Rise up a knight. We give thee for reward 1,000 marks, and will that thou henceforth attend on us.
May Iden live to merit such a bounty, and never live but true unto his liege. Enter the Queen and Somerset.
See, Buckingham, Somerset comes with the Queen. Go, bid her hide him quickly from the Duke.
1,000 Yorks, he shall not hide his head, but boldly stand and front him face to face.
How now?
Front him to his face.
How now? Is Somerset at liberty? Then York, unloose thy long imprisoned thoughts, and let thy tongue be equal with thy heart. Shall I endure the sight of Somerset? False king, why hast thou broken faith with me, knowing how hardly I can brook abuse? King did I call thee? No, thou art not king, not fit to govern and rule multitudes, which darest not, nor canst not rule a traitor. That head of thine doth not become a crown. Thy hand is made to grasp a palmer's staff, and not to grace an awful prince's scepter. That gold must round and gird these brows of mine, whose smile and frown, like to Achilles' spear, is able with the change to kill and cure. Here is hand to hold a scepter up, and with the same to act controlling laws. Give place, by heaven, thou shalt rule no more, or him whom heaven created for thy rule.
Derek?
Okay.
Oh, that was Kitty. O monstrous
Derek, you
traitor,
said
I
you
arrest thee, York, of capital treason against the king and crown. Obey, audacious traitor, kneel for grace.
Wouldst thou have me kneel? First let me ask of thee, if they can brook, I bow a knee to man. Sirrah, call in my son to be my bail. I know ere they will have me go to ward, they'll pawn their swords of my enfranchisement.
Oliver Clifford, bid him come amain to say if that the bastard boys of York shall be the surety for their traitor father.
Oh, blood-spotted Neapolitan, outcast of Naples, England's bloody scourge, the sons of York, thy betters in their birth, shall be their father's bail, and bane to those that for my surety will refuse the boys.
Edward and Richard enter.
See where they come. I'll warrant they'll make it good.
Clifford enters.
Okay, Brian, can you take that, please?
No, I'm doing Clifford. It's fine.
No, there's young Clifford.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to know. I'm
said
young
you were in
Clifford.
Somerset
I thought that was
there.
old Clifford. No,
This is young Clifford, so
Yeah.
Brian,
oh, my mistake. Okay, I got it.
no problem. And here
Help.
comes Clifford to deny their bane.
Health and all happiness to my lord the king.
I thank thee, Clifford. Say, what news with thee? Nay, do not fright us with an angry look. We are thy sovereign, Clifford. Kneel again for thy mistaking so. We pardon thee.
This is my king, York. I do not mistake. But thou mistakes me much to think I do. To bedlam with him, is the man grown mad?
Aye. A bedlam and ambitious humor makes him oppose himself against his king.
He is a traitor. Let him to the tower and chop away that factitious pate of his.
He is arrested, but will not obey. His sons, he says, shall give their words for him.
Will you not, sons?
I noble father.
My noble father, if our words will serve, thank you.
And if words will not, then our weapons shall.
Why, what a brood of traitors have we here!
Look in a glass and call thy image so. I am thy king, and thou a false heart, traitor! Call hither to the stake my two brave bears, that with the very shaking of their chains they may astonish these fell-looking curs. Did Salisbury and Warwick come to me?
Into the Earls of Warwick and Salisbury.
Are these thy bears? We'll bait thy bears to death and manacle the Berard in their chains, if thou darest bring them to the baiting place.
Oft have I seen a hot or weaning cur run back and bite, because he has withheld, who being suffered with the bear's fell paw, hath clapped his tail between his legs and cried. And such a piece of service will you do, if you oppose yourselves to match Lord Warwick.
Hence, heap of wrath, foul indigested lump, as crooked in thy manners as thy shape.
Nay, we shall heat you thoroughly anon.
Take heed, lest by your heat you burn yourselves.
Why, Warwick, hath thy knee forgot to bow? Oh, old Salisbury, shame to thy silver hair, thou mad misleader of thy brain-sick son. What wilt thou on thy deathbed play the ruffian, and seek for sorrow with thy spectacles? Oh, where is faith? Oh, where is loyalty? If it be banished from the frosty head, where shall it find a harbor in the earth? Wilt thou go dig a grave to find out war, and shame thy honorable age with blood? Why art thou old and want'st experience? Or wherefore dost thou abuse it if thou hast it? For shame in duty bend thy knee to me, that bows unto the grave with mickle age.
My lord, I have considered with myself the title of this most renowned duke, and in my conscience do repute his grace the rightful heir to England's royal seat.
Hast thou not sworn allegiance unto me?
I have.
Canst thou dispense with heaven for such an oath?
It is a great sin to swear unto a sin, but greater sin to keep a sinful oath. Who can be bound by any solemn vow to do a murderous deed, to rob a man, to force a spotless virgin's chastity, to read the orphan of his patrimony, to wring the widow from her custom right, and have no other reason for this wrong but that he was bound by a solemn oath?
Little traitor hath no sophistry, needs no.
Call Buckingham and bid him arm himself.
Call Buckingham and all the friends thou hast. I am resolved for death and dignity.
First I warrant thee, if dreams prove true.
You're best to go to bed and dream again to keep thee from the tempests of the field.
I am resolved to bear a greater storm than any thou can conjure up today, and that I'll write upon thy burgonet, might I but know thee by thy house badge.
Now, by my father's badge, old Neville's crest, the rampant bear, chained to the ragged staff, this day I'll wear aloft by burgonet, as on the mountain top, to set us shoes that keeps the leaves up in pride of the storm, even the afraid thee with the view thereof.
And from thy burgonet I'll rend thy bear, and tread it underfoot with all contempt, despite the bearer that protects the bear.
And so to arms, victorious father, to quell the rebels and their complaisance.
Fie, charity for shame speaks not in spite, for you shall sup with Jesus Christ tonight.
Foul stigmatic, that's more than thou canst tell.
Well, if not in heaven, you'll surely sup in hell.
And the exit, Act 5, Scene 2, Warwick enters.
Clifford of Cumberland, 'tis word calls, and if thou dost not hide thee from the bear, now when the angry trumpets sign alarmed, and the dead man cries do fill the empire air, Clifford, I say, come forth and fight with me. Proud northern lord, Clifford of Cumberland, Warwick is hoarse with calling thee to arms.
York enters.
Ah, how now, my noble lord? What all afoot?
The deadly-handed Clifford slew my steed, but match to match I have encountered him, and made a prey for carrion kites and crows, even of the bonny beast he loved so well.
Clifford enters.
Of one or both of us, the time has come.
Hold, Warwick! Seek thee out some other chase, for I myself must hunt this deer to death.
Then, noble York, 'tis for crown thou fight'st, as I intend Clifford to thrive today. It grieves my soul to leave thee unassailed.
Warwick exits.
What seest thou in me, York? Why dost thou pause?
With thy brave bearing should I be in love, but that thou art so fast mine enemy.
Nor should thy prowess want praise and esteem, but that 'tis shown ignobly and in treason.
So let it help me now against thy sword, as I in justice and true right express it.
My soul and body on the action both.
A dreadful lay, address thee instantly.
La fin couronne les humanes.
Thus war hath given thee peace. But thou art still. Peace with his soul, heaven if it be thy will.
Young Clifford enters.
Shame and confusion, all is on the rout. Fear frames disorder, and disorder wounds where it should guard. O war, thou son of hell, whom angry heavens do make their minister, throw in the frozen bosoms of our part hot cold of vengeance. Let no soldier fly, he that is truly dedicated to war. Hath no self-love, nor he that loves himself. Hath not essentially, but by circumstance, the name of valor. Oh, let the vile world end, and the premised flames of the last day knit earth and heaven together. Now let the general trumpet blow his blast, particularities and petty sounds to cease. Wast thou ordained, dear father, to lose thy youth in peace, and to achieve the silver livery of advised age, and in thy reverence and thy chair days, as to die in ruffian battle? Even at this sight, my heart is turned to stone, and while 'tis mine, it shall be stony. York, not our old men spares, no more will I their babes. Tears virginal shall be to me, even as the dew to fire. And beauty, that the tyrant oft reclaims, shall to my flaming wrath be oil and flax. Henceforth, I will not have to do with pity. Meet I an infant of the house of York, into as many gobbets will I cut it, as while Medea, young Absyrtus did. In cruelty will I seek out my fame. Come thou, new ruin of old Clifford's house, as did Aeneas old Anchises bear. Bear I thee upon my manly shoulders. For then Aeneas bare the living load. Nothing so heavy as these woes of mine.
Richard and Somerset enter to fight.
So lie thou there, for underneath an alehouse paltry sign, the castle in St. Albans, Somerset hath made the wizard famous in his death. Sword, hold thy temper. Heart, be wrathful still. Priests, pray for enemies, but princes kill.
They fight and people leave. Eventually, the king and queen and others enter.
Away, my lord, you are slow. For shame, away!
Can we outrun the heavens? Good Margaret, stay.
What are you made of? You'll nor fight nor fly. Now is it manhood, wisdom, and defense to give the enemy way and to secure us by what we can, which can no more but fly.
There's an alarm a distance off.
You be tamed. We should then see the bottom of all our fortunes. But if we haply escape, as well we may, if not through your neglect, we shall to London get, where you are loved, and where this breach now and our fortunes made may readily be stopped.
Clifford enters.
But that my heart's on future mischief set, I would speak blasphemy ere bid you fly. But fly you must. Uncurable discomfort reigns in the hearts of all our present parts. Away for your relief, and we will live to see their day, and them our fortune give. Away, my lord, away!
And they exit. Act 5, Scene 3. Alarms sound. There's a great retreat. York enters with Richard, Warwick, and the soldiers with drums and colours.
Of Salisbury, who can report of him? That winter lion who in rage forgets aged commission, aged contusions, and all brush of time, and like a gallant in the brow of youth, repairs him with occasion. This happy day is not itself, nor have we won 1 foot if Salisbury be lost.
My noble father, 3 times today I holp him to his horse, 3 times bestrid him, thrice I led him off, persuaded him from any further act. But still, where danger was, still there I met him. And the like rich hangings in a homely house, so was his will, in his old feeble body. But noble as he is, oh look where he comes.
Salisbury enters.
By my sword, what hast thou fought today? By the mass of Divion, I thank you, Richard. God knows how long it is I have to live, and has pleased him that 3 times a day you have defended me from imminent death. Well, lords, we have not got that which we have. 'Tis not enough. Our foes have this time fled, being opposites of such repaying nature.
I know our safety is to follow them, for as I hear, the king is fled to London to call a present court of parliament. Let us pursue him ere the writs go forth. What says Lord Warwick? Shall we after them?
After them. Nay, before them, if we can. Now, by my hand, lords, it was a glorious day. St. Albans, battle won by famous York, shall be eternized in all age to come. Sound drum and trumpets, and to London all, and more such days as these to us befall.
And they exit. End of play.
Oh.
To be continued.
Yeah. Good man. Oh my God. Thank you guys all so much. Oh my God.
Shit, it's long. It's long.
4 hours long. This is one of the longest, I think. Yeah. Oh my God.
Sorry for jumping in for something.
Thank you so much, Angus, for all those stage directions. Thank you.
Well,
very
it
much.
suddenly occurred to me that people coming and going every 5 seconds. And if we don't keep track of them, we get lost in who's where.
It's true. It's true.
I thought despite the length and the technical catastrophes, this was great. And all you guys were great and to work with. It's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Good pep for
Yes.
a good
Good to see you again, Brian.
Yeah, you too, man. Great.
I thought so, true. Now, Victoria, you this kind of baptism by fire. Usually it's not nearly so
really
fraught.
fun. I think everyone did amazing. I really had a really good time with everyone. It was really fun.
Good.
Good.
Welcome to the Instant Shakespeare.
And I love the logo. When I saw it, I was like, the logo is so cool. I really like that.
Yeah. It's
I
cool.
really had a good time. Thank you for having me.
Actually, there was an article about us in the New York Times The summer of
Really?
2010, when we did Lysistrata, and we used to get like
Oh.
70 people in the audience at the main branch. So if you Google it, that will come up. It's a fun article they wrote
Yeah.
about.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
didn't know that.
That's
All
really
right.
cool.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Oh, thank
Now we can go and have a nice weekend with this gorgeous weather.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great
Thank
one.
you so
What?
much. Thank you to Virginia for putting
Take
this
care.
on.
And thank you,
so
Good
much.
night,
Paul.
everyone.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Paul, for
Appreciate
fixing
you.
the Zoom thing when it went
Bye-bye.
off.
Thank
Play.
you.
Bye.
Yay.
Thank you,
Yay.
B. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank
and
you,
Derek.
thank
Derek,
you,
when I said yay
Virginia.
about let's kill all the lawyers, Derek, you know I didn't mean you, and I didn't
Yes,
mean
I thank you. Thank you.
I
That's
didn't
fine.
mean most
I think
lawyers.
it's an awful line. But Virginia, thank you for giving me
Yes, thank you
vote.
so much.
Yeah. Well, it's just a lot of parts, man. Oy, oy, oy.
Bo
Well,
is
when they
in
do this play, they make a lot of
them.
cuts. They make a lot of cuts when they do this play. They have to, they have to.
Oh, my sister asked me, she was like, is it really like 3 hours
We're still
long?
recording.
Mm. Okay, well,
Then,
we'll all
well,
leave soon.
That's
We'll all leave
Shakespeare.
soon.
That's Shakespeare.
Paul, no doubt.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Mwah. Thank
Have
you
a good night,
all.
everyone. God bless you.
Bye-bye. See you
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Bye.
Hopefully, Paul will kill the feed and the recording fairly soon.
I'm trying to stop.
Oh, good, excellent.
I just want to say how amazing
never-
everybody was. Oh my God.
Good. Yeah.
I've never done that before. You know, he made me, I guess, co-host and then
Yeah.
host it on and off. He would come
Yeah.
back and then he'd make me co-host and host again. This is the first time I've ever stopped a recording.
Good. That's the
Thank
first.
you so much. It's so hard to control everything, like especially you're in the midst of a play. There's so much to think, change the name, change this. So thank you
Oh,
so
yeah.
much, Eleanor,
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
plus you have to step in. Thank you. You stepped in for like a multiple characters. Oh my God.
Yeah. How you doing?
Did you hear me telling at the beginning what I was up to earlier this morning?
Yes, it was impressive. So
I think
you're going to
I
be
missed-
representing the US at the UN?
I'm going to be representing the Conscience and Peace Tax International, or the Conference on War Tax Resistance and Peace Tax Campaigns.
Oh my God.
Through my being a member, through my representing the National War Tax Resistance Coordinating Council.
Okay. What's that doing? I've never heard of it.
Oh, well, you know that if somebody is drafted and they're conscientiously opposed to war,
Sure.
they can become a conscientious objector.
Yep.
But what if you are conscientiously opposed to paying for war?
I see.
I am conscientiously opposed to paying for it. You know, if I pay to have you murdered, I don't have to be there when you're killed.
No,
I'm
but you're
still
still-
your murderer.
You're still culpable. Yeah.
Yes. So I refuse to pay war taxes. And
Okay.
because I'm a public war tax resistor, the IRS went after me when I only owed a teeny tiny little bit, and they seized my bank account. And
Oh, for God's sake.
they were planning to call me up in court, and then when I would refuse, refuse to answer questions about where they could find money to seize, because they'd already cleaned out one bank account and I cleaned out the other one real quick. They were going to put me in contempt of court and throw me in prison indefinitely. Now, they did this to two other people before, to Robin Harper in Pennsylvania and Larry Bassett in New York. And both of them, after being in prison for a couple of years or so, the courts ruled that they had the right to do that. And I was going to be the third person, because in New Jersey, that's a different circuit court. But my pro bono lawyer persuaded them it would be really bad PR if somebody died because of the IRS. I would have been
That-
the first war tax resistance conscientious objector to die for my beliefs and the first atheist martyr in history.
Oh, God. Yeah, but it's interesting to note that what gets to them is not the legality of it. It's whether they're going to get bad PR out of it. That's how America works.
What did you put in the chat just now?
Oh, I just because we were sitting here, I just threw in a quick, you guys, nobody sees it. It's only us. It's a picture. I just snapped a picture when everybody was smiling and everybody was like saying thank you. I just took a little quick snapshot. So, you guys can delete it because it's only in this Zoom chat. So nobody else sees it. Yeah, it's I like those a little a group picture.
It's a terrible picture of me. Look at me.
You can delete it. I love group pictures to for memories for you guys to that you guys did this long play. So
yeah.
I expected it to be long because this is Henry VI. I'm like, all right, I'm freeing out my whole Saturday.
Well, I'm going to be playmastering Richard III, so I'm looking for people.
Whoa, that's cool. That's going to be long too, right? That's powerful. I love the expression.
Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Hey,
Hello.
Paul, how you doing?
Okay. So you finally got through it all, even though there were technical issues here, but glad that worked out. So I guess I can end the live stream now.
You can indeed.
Well,
Eleanor already ended it, right?
Well,